Good morning, everybody. I toast to you and all you do. Hope you're having a fantastic day today. Excuse me, it's Saturday, so I hope everybody's going to enjoy their weekend. I don't know, okay, so today we're going to talk about something more real life, less spiritual, I guess, but whatever. So, yesterday I went to the doctor, just like an annual wellness, whatever, established care. So stupid, they ask you 1,000 questions. Well, it was really eerie. There's like nobody there. The whole place is pretty empty. It's a brand new hospital. Pretty empty. They have all the chairs upside down so you can't sit down. It's weird. Definitely not busy. I don't know where the overflowing hospitals are, but they're not around here. I guess we're lucky that way. Where there's a lot of lying news. Maybe a little bit of both. Anyways, I'm at the doctor's appointment. They go through all of the questions and they ask you about your vaccines and blah, blah, blah. And they want to give me my tetanus vaccine, which I just was like, how random. No, thank you. So, when I was a kid, vaccines were still pretty dangerous. The example like my mom uses is why I specifically didn't get vaccines. The risk of side effects from polio when I was a kid, I'm not saying this is true anymore, so don't be all mad at me, world of vaccine people. But when I was a kid, the risk of getting polio was actually lower than the risk of having some negative side effect from your vaccine. And so I didn't get it. Now, I'm lucky that I live in a developed country where polio is not a problem. And if I ever went to another country, I would have to get a polio vaccine in order to go to many places outside this country. But anyways, so I go through this with my kids, and I go through this with myself, and even my husband gets a little bit of this because we're not overly vaccinated. Now I have my MMR, and I have my hepatitis shots, because they're required to pretty much go through life. And unless I want to do sign the legal paperwork everywhere I go, then those ones, whatever. In fact, actually, when I was in 7th grade, they lined up everybody in the hallway and said, if you don't have it, you're getting it now, or you're not allowed to come back to school. The middle school I went to was very notorious for doing things of this nature, and not calling your parents. They didn't call my parents. Actually, we had a lot of problems. I got a lot of siblings and half-siblings and adopted foster family, whatever. And as each of us went through this middle school, we all had different, there were racial issues, there were economic issues, there were indiscrepancies between children. I missed 27 consecutive, pretty much, science classes. Well, pretty much 27 absences in my 7th grade. First semester. And I got a little note home that was like, hey, maybe you should come to school. My younger sibling, my god sister, same kind of situation. They were going to expel her after 8 days or something like that. So we had a bunch of problems at the school, but the school took it upon themselves to make sure that everybody was vaccinated. And like I said, they lined us all up in the hallway and said, do this. I was in 7th grade, and there's not a lot of no going on, and so the school took advantage of that. Now, I bring up this story because yesterday at the doctor, there was some peer pressure about me not having a flu vaccine and my tetanus shot. They gave me crap while I was each one of my pregnancies because I didn't have a tetanus shot, and they were like, you really need to get this tetanus shot. And I'm like, I've lived on this old farm for 10 years now, and I've never stepped on a rusty nail. I've never scratched myself on a dirty nail. I've never done it. What's with the tetanus shot, okay? We won't get into conspiracy theories. I try to limit my exposure to them because it might take it too far. But, my kids, we are on a late vaccine schedule. I'm not anti-vaccine. but I am delayed vaccine schedule because I feel like they do it in pretty much every other country, that it's important for your child's immune system to develop before you start injecting them with crap. Um, I know that a lot of your pediatricians will tell you shedding is no such thing, but if you look at the research, all of the recent measles outbreaks have been from shedding. Shedding means that they are injecting you with a dead virus, and there is a chance in some people that it could reactivate and become alive, and then you become contagious. You don't necessarily have the symptoms and get sick from it. Some people do, but you can give it to other people. I've got a sister who's super sensitive to chickenpox. Oddly enough, she's had it 3 times, um, which your doctors will tell you that's not possible. But she had it when she was little. She had a very mild case. And so when my sister, my youngest sister, who I'm 20 years senior to, so I got a lot of siblings. Anyways, so my youngest sibling, when she got her vaccine, she shed the virus, and my sister, who's closest to her in age, got chickenpox again. And then they were like, this is really weird. Let's just give you the chickenpox vaccine. And she got it again from it. So I don't think she ever wants anything to do with that vaccine. She's now had mild forms of chickenpox 3 times. My brother, on the other hand, who got it when I got it, this sister wasn't alive yet. So, but my baby brother, who's 5 years younger than me, he got it. He got 2 chickenpox, and he's forever immune to it. Not a big deal. Now, I am not saying go out and get the chickenpox instead of having the vaccine. I'm not all of those things. I'm just saying that you need to be aware. When I specifically, so my oldest daughter was going through hers, I got 2 babies, and I said, I'm concerned about shedding. There's been a family history of this. Like, is this, where are we at with the vaccines and the blah, blah, blah. And my pediatrician, verbatim, oh, shedding doesn't happen anymore. And then not 6 months later, that big measles outbreak that everybody's like, everybody's got the measles. Well, it was from the vaccine. It was shed through the vaccine. People who got the vaccine, who didn't show any symptoms, who didn't stay home for the 48 hours that they're supposed to after they receive the vaccine, because you are technically possibly contagious when you receive a dead virus. So when you get measles, mumps, rubella, the chickenpox vaccine, the whooping cough vaccine, all of these viral infections where they're giving you the dead vaccine, you are contagious in theory for the next couple days. Like, there's a possibility of that, and so you need to stay home. And so people who don't follow that and then shed the disease, the sickness, the ailment, are giving it to other people. Okay, so all of this, whatever. When I go to the doctor and we talk about it, I get a lot of flack. They're like, no, you need to be vaccinated, here's why, here's the thing, here's the pamphlets, here's the whatever, and you get a lot of shaming. And I think that it's important, one, that if you feel, so I guess the whole reason this is on the channel and we're talking about this, I'm kind of ranting, whatever, but my faith tells me that I probably should do less to interfere with the processes of life. I'm not anti-medicine. I thoroughly believe in emergency medicine. I am not against treatment. I think that if we weren't meant to have it, the gods wouldn't have provided it for us. But on the same hand, I do think that there's a tendency to have taken it too far. Doing things too preventatively, assuming that everything is bad, and then we all have the disease, and then we all are going to have to be cured. I think that that's the arrogance of man, and unnecessary. You see a lot of chronic diseases that they're like, here, take these pills, get on insulin for the rest of your life, take these new pills, take this other pill, get this shot. When, if we insisted, no, there's no pill to fix diabetes. You have to correct your diet and lifestyle. If you talk to people who are diabetic, even with type 1 diabetes, who have to be on insulin, they will still tell you What makes a bigger difference than taking the insulin is diet and lifestyle. And if they eat right and they, maintain their carbohydrate levels and they do the things that they need to do, their weight maintains, their blood sugars maintain, everything maintains, and then they're not having to insulin regulate. And especially with type 2 diabetes, pretty much every case of type 2 diabetes, before it gets to the point where it's got so many comorbidities that you can't fix those problems, can be solved with diet and lifestyle changes. Now, we live in a world where the medical community has told us that you need to take these medications. And this is where it begins to go too far, especially with the vaccines, okay? So, yes, I guess we'll use whooping cough as my prime example, because I don't get my kids a whooping cough vaccine. And here's why. We don't go to daycare, so we're not allowed around children, of the age and the risk factors and all of that stuff, okay? We don't have a lot of friends or family who we see regularly who do go to daycare. And you might be wondering why I'm saying that, but whooping cough is spread through daycares. Normally when a child has whooping cough and they're young, this is an ailment that affects young children. That's why they're like, well, you're a grown-up, you need to get the vaccine so that you don't give whooping cough to children, because it doesn't affect you because you're already immune, is actually what that is. I'm not sure on the whole whooping cough vaccine. I'm pretty anti-whooping cough vaccine, because if we stayed home while we were sick, you weren't shunned for staying home with your children while you were sick, and we were able to take that care and take that moment, which we are now as a global society, I think, changing towards. The whooping cough probably exhibits very similar signs to COVID, honestly, when my son had it in February. We thought maybe he has whooping cough, because this cough that won't go away, that's really deep and painful in the chest. We thought he had a whole list of things. All of them were negative. But that's why I was at the doctor yesterday, getting that COVID antibody test. We'll see. Because there are survivors, guys. It's not we are strong, capable species that is able to evolve and maintain and develop and grow and move forward with these kind of things. But the more that we inject into our body and we tell our body no, and we take medications unnecessarily, or we do things that we don't need to do, then the more problems we have in the long term. I mean, I'll use myself as an example, okay? So I have periodontal disease that wasn't caught until much later in life. I have a genetic predisposition to a very damaging kind of periodontal disease that specifically attacks the bones underneath. So it's not a topical bacterial infection. It's an internal thing in my mouth. When I was in high school, my teeth were a little crooked. Instead of catching the periodontal disease, my dentist sent me to an orthodontist. I went through with the orthodontist, but my orthodontist actually did more damage to my periodontal disease than good. And it actually made my periodontal disease much more, progressed the disease much farther. But they just wanted me to have these beautifully straight teeth that were white and beautiful, and they were like, do these things and it'll help you do that. But nobody stopped to look and see and check and make sure. And at no point was there like hey, what's going on? So then as a grown-up, much, much later in life, when I'm losing my teeth and I'm having all of these issues, and then I go to this dentist who actually is a good dentist and is like, hey, you have this rare form of progressive periodontal disease that's genetic and this and that and blah, 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 and this should have been caught much earlier in life. You should have never had braces. Some of these things just should have been happening earlier in life. So not all doctors are bad. But I just went with what those doctors told me. They were like, oh, you need braces and it'll fix this and that and everything will be fine. And that's not the case. So it's It's the same thing with the vaccines. It's the same thing with all of these things. Your doctors are just educated. They're making educated guesses based on the information that they have. If they have very biased information, then they don't have all of the information. While I was at the doctor yesterday, it's crazy. So I had all my babies at home, and they're like, when was the last time you had a wellness checkup? Or when you were pregnant, did you have any lab work done? And I just have to have the conversation like, okay, look, my midwife care does not meet the boxes that you need to check as an OB. Most of them they do, but not all of them. Like, I didn't get my staff whatever test. I got it done with one of my pregnancies. It's negative, blah blah blah. I'm not going to go on antibiotics for that. I'm not going to take the risk that the antibiotics have on my body and the baby's body because of a potential risk that may or may not happen in some cases based off of this and blah blah. Not worth the risk. The long-term risk of me taking an antibiotic that late in my pregnancy or that early in my baby's life. And okay, so now that we're in this place with COVID and vaccines coming out and people saying, oh, you're gonna have to do this. No. Okay. The government, at least here in America, and I'm pretty sure in all places, well, no, I'm not gonna lie, other countries, that's not true. There are countries where the government can dictate what you do and do not do with your body, but here in America, it might say, like, you get that thing from the school that says you have to have your vaccines. Bah! It's A, B, C, D, E, F. Down there on F, it says, oh, by the way, if you have religious, personal, or any kind of reason that you don't want to do this, you don't have to, and there's paperwork that you can sign to get out of it. I'm working in childcare. I've handed this paperwork out to many, many parents because their kids aren't vaccinated or they're on a delayed schedule or whatever it may be. It's just a piece of paper that says that you are aware and that we are aware and that everybody is aware that you have waived your rights to not do this. And you have that right. So when you're going to the doctor, be it for your religious, so for me, it's my faith. And I believe, that I shouldn't be taking hormones, that I shouldn't be doing major things to alter my body unnecessarily. I need to do the things to take care of my body. I'm not against antibiotics, but I am against taking them unnecessarily. Like, if that makes sense. Like, you have to weigh everything in both hands, and is this really beneficial, or is it hurting me, or how beneficial, and what's the long-term consequences? And when I was in high school, again, I had really bad hives all over my body. I have eczema and psoriasis and dermatitis and blah blah blah. Depending on what doctor you go to, they all want to give me a different label because they're all making educated guesses. But anyways, rashes over my whole body pretty much. People thought that I just had this permanent sunburn, like flaking psoriasis rash. It was really miserable. And as a 15-year-old and you're insecure and you're whatever, and the doctor says, you know what, we'll give you these steroids, they might help. I took the steroids. It was a miracle. The rashes were gone, and I was like, give me more steroids. I don't care. Now it's a grown-up. I really wish that, one, my doctor had not been so irresponsible in providing me with more steroids. Two, that they had had the conversation with me and my parents about really long-term consequences of taking those. Because of the steroid that they gave me specifically, it deteriorates the cartilage between your joints, and in me, it attacked the cartilage in my hips, and by the time I was 25, I am missing quite a bit of cartilage in my hips, to the point where if I rotate my hip in the right way in an outward direction, it's bone-on-bone rubbing, and it's super painful. And this is something that's only going to get worse. And I was 15 when I took these. Now that I'm 35, and I have these problems, I'm like, God, I wish, as a grown-up, I look back and I'm like, damn, I wish I wouldn't have been so insecure in needing to not have these rashes and to push those doctors. And I wish I had a better doctor who had been like, no, no, no. Okay, that worked. So that'll help us identify what the problem is, not give you this false thing. So be aware that you need to be mindful of your body and your health, and that your medical providers are just making educated guesses based off of their information. It is always okay to get a second opinion. Always. If you don't like your answer, go get another answer. I mean, I went to 3 different dentists, and all of them told me I had periodontal disease. Each one gave me a different number of teeth that I would have to be removed, or this or that. And then it was finally the last one I went to who had referred me to a specialist who actually sat me down and was like, this is what's wrong with your mouth. This is why it's like this. Then I called all my family and was like, do you have this? And every single person in my mom's family was like, oh yeah, I don't have any teeth. Like, this would have been great to know a long time ago, so that I could have done better preventative things to take care of it. So you have to communicate with your doctors. You have to be able to have that conversation. And when they come at you like yesterday, you don't have your tetanus shot? No. Did you want to get a flu shot? It's free. We could also do your tetanus shot right now. No, thank you. I don't get the flu shot. I don't get the tetanus shot. I don't like playing Russian roulette with my immune system, specifically with the flu shot. The government picks a flu virus that they have predicted will be the dominant flu this year, and then they put it in the vaccine, and then they give it to everybody in hopes that that's what really helps. And I'm sure that this is with the best of intentions, but is it really necessary to inject you with dead viruses over and over and over again every year, hoping that we've got the right one? And they don't last eternally, and every time the flu has a flu season, it metamorphs and it changes. That's why, like, even with this COVID and they're talking about a vaccine, once it goes through our society, it's going to start all over again as something new, because it will have metamorphed in the billions of bodies that it's been spread through and grown, because this is a growing, living, evolving organism that is alive, that is spreading through all of these people. Any of these viruses are. And every time it goes into a body, either we kill it, it works its way through our system and does its thing and moves on, or it kills us. And that's just the evolution of the relationship between living organisms and viruses. And that's just how it's been forever. This is part of evolution. If you look at evolutionary medicine from evolutionary science, this is part of what has evolved all of the species on Earth. So this is just part of the grand master plan. And we can do what we think we can do to help change or direct that, but in reality, we can't. And the universe and the elements and the energies and all of that they're going to steer that ship where it's supposed to go. So be mindful as you ride the waves between all of this, and know that you have the right to say no. I don't care how pushy your doctor is or how pushy they are when you go to wherever. You have the right to say no. And they can tell you and whatever. And, I find it's helpful. I have a lot of research to back up what I have to say. And I'm not saying no vaccines. I'm not a no vacciner. I am in full belief, though, that you should let your body and his immune system grow and evolve and do things. The more damage we do to the immune system, the more we have other problems. Well, I'm not going to go on another tangent because we could go into some serious gut health, which then lead to, the rise in celiac disease and the rise in Crohn's disease and the rise in lactose intolerance and all of these different things. A lot of that has to do with antibiotics and early medicine that we give to our babies that really messes up their gut, which leads to these other problems. And yeah, sometimes they're necessary, other times it's an overabundance of it. But these are things that you need to be aware of and know that you have the right to say no. You have the right to say, let's schedule another visit so that I can have time to get some other opinions or to research this or to look into that. And if your doctor continues to look down on you and to be like, tell them, I don't think that this is a good patient-doctor relationship. Either can you refer me to another doctor or I will find another doctor. And that's okay. That's what the free market of healthcare is all about. And we have allowed doctors to have all of this control, thinking that we have to go to that doctor. Well, you know what? You don't have to. You could call your insurance and say, that doctor's a kook and I need a new doctor. Period. You could just go find a new doctor. You just start calling doctors. Here's my insurance. Do you take my insurance? No? Fine. Let's move on. Most people in the billing offices are nice enough to tell you those things in advance because they don't want to deal with the repercussions later. And they know what kind of car. They can look it up. Will you pay me? And the insurance company will tell them. Um, and so just ask. Be aware of your own treatment. Be aware of what you need and what's best for you. And don't let them push you into making it. Don't let your kids' health care, child care, blah, blah, blah care, whatever, tell you what's what. These are your kids, and you got to do what's right by them. Make educated decisions based off of the information available. And we live in a world where the information is plethora. And you can get your information from the American Pediatric Association just as well as your doctor can. You can read the same news releases that they put out. Everybody can. And they even do a really good job to where they have the mumbo jumbo medical article. So if you understand those words, you can read it like that. Or they have the normal people article that says it without all of the mumbo jumbo words and is easy to read. And it says this is what it is and this is why this is this way. You know, the FDA, even the World Health Organization, especially on vaccines. Go to the World Health Organization. They have a plethora of more information. Good morning, doggies. All right. Oh, look, I have ranted a long time. The dogs are telling me it's time to be done. So I hope everybody has a great day. Make educated decisions best for you. Know what you need to do for you. That's what's important. So I challenge you today to be you and to know what you need and to look into what you need to. Because many of us have been to the doctor where they tell you, oh, there's no way you're in that much pain, or there's nothing wrong with you, or we can't seem to find all of your test results come back normal, so you must be fine. Remember that conversation when they're telling you, you have to have this vaccine. But all my test results are fine. Think. Know what you're doing. All right, so here's my rantings of a phoenix today. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I hope you all have a great day.